This podcast is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome back to Legend of the Bones. Following in the footsteps of giants, Legend of the Bones is a chimera. A mix of old-school tabletop RPG and dark fantasy storytelling. As its name might suggest, in Legend of the Bones the dice rule. There'll be no rerolls, no fudging the dice, no metacurrency. The roll of the bones will determine the character's destiny, and no one will be spared their fate. None shall escape the destiny of Bone. Last time on Legend of the Bones. In the aftermath of their battle with the hellworm, Nithager, Lena lay grievously wounded, her body shattered. Wordlessly, the cleric offered a desperate prayer for salvation. The nine answered, mending the worst of her injuries and pulling her back from the edge of death. With Lena stabilised, Valen and Demalza turned their focus to the ritual that would seal the rift. The old mage stepped to the brink of the abyss, while Valen unfurled the ritual scroll. As he completed the incantation, Demalza plunged her dagger into her own heart. At the moment of her death, Valen cast Push, hurling her body and the Eye of Krevik into the waiting void. With the ritual complete, the rift abruptly imploded, sealing itself forever. In the quiet that followed, Lena prayed once more to the nine, receiving a boon that eased the party's wounds. Afterwards, Eadith confronted Valen, demanding to know why he had kept the plan to seal the rift a secret. Overcome with grief, she blamed him for Demalza's death. Valen explained that Demalza had spoken to him, mind to mind, and made him swear not to tell Eadith, fearing she might try to stop her. Eadith begrudgingly accepted that Valen had no choice, when Beric called to the others from deeper within the chamber, where he had discovered an archway and a staircase leading up. Chapter 70, Part 1, Day 62, Night. Party status: Beric, 55 out of 61 hit points. Lena, 19 out of 39 hit points. Valen, 22 out of 22 hit points. Talion, 23 out of 27 hit points. Eadith, 12 out of 14 hit points. Spells available: Valen has memorised Charm Animal, Soothe, Revive, Clairvoyance, and Dragon's Breath. Talion has memorised Poetic Prose, Pitch, Imbue, and Lullaby. Eadith has memorised Flame, Sleep, and Knock. Lena can pray for 2 second-level miracles, 1 third-level miracle, and 1 fifth-level miracle. Beric peered through the archway and up the dark stairway, the gloom swallowing the flickering light of his torch. The stone stairs rose like the neck of some ancient beast, each step sinking further into shadow. No light could be seen from above, no hint of where the stairs may lead, yet there was, unmistakable, the faintest wisp of fresh air, softly caressing his face. "It could be a way out," he suggested, turning back to the others. "But that would mean..." Lena's voice trailed off, a gnawing realization growing among them, one that hollowed their triumph. That whilst the wardens had sealed the inner vault, another exit could mean that Hell's evils might have spilled into the world. "Yes," Valen answered, acknowledging the unspoken, his voice low, thoughtful.
But the main entrance is sealed, and we do not know if we can leave by that way. This may be our only hope of escape. We won't know unless we try,
Beric said decisively. The warrior extinguished his torch, leaving the cool, steady light of the moonstone to illuminate their path. Slinging his shield onto his back with a practiced motion, he stepped onto the first stair and led the companions upward. After 50 or so steps, the stairway twisted back on itself like a serpent coiling through the mountain. The companions pressed on, but there was no respite. The stairs stretched ever upward, unrelenting, as though trying to outweight their endurance.
Perhaps we should turn back,
Beric suggested, pausing for breath and gazing up the dark tunnel, his brow beaded with sweat.
These stairs must lead somewhere,
Valen answered.
And perhaps they will reveal Penmelkeen's original purpose.
But the mage then hesitated, concern clouding his features. He looked to Lena, whose body still bore the trauma of Nithiga's attack.
Can you continue, Fina Harriet?
The cleric was weary, her cheeks flushed from the exertion, but she nodded nonetheless, determination shining faintly through her fatigue. They continued on, climbing the grueling stairs for what seemed like an hour. Each step felt heavier than the last, their muscles burning. Yet now there was a definite breeze, the promise of which pulled them ever forward. Then, up ahead, a faint pale glow could be just made out. With the end in sight, the companions pushed on with renewed vigour, and soon it was clear that the light was the moon's glow reflecting off the stone walls. There was an exit ahead, but their relief at finding a way out was sour. The last hope that the rift's evil had never reached the world was gone. Any number of hell-spawned abominations could have fled by this unguarded route. Perhaps even the manticore that had killed Jenna had trodden these very steps in its escape. They emerged into the ink-black night and onto a wide natural shelf on the mountainside. In the clear sky above, the waning gibbous moon shone like a beacon over the dragonspine, illuminating the space. To the right, a small silver waterfall cascaded over the rock face, glittering like liquid starlight. The ground was strewn with pebbles, shards of stone, and several pine branches that had toppled from higher up the slope. Yet there, carved meticulously onto the floor of the shelf, were small circles interconnected by deliberate lines, their edges gleaming faintly in the moonlight. Valen stepped forward to examine them, his eyes widening with wonder. He could sense a power within the markings, a resonance of something ancient, primordial, perhaps even beyond the shaping of human hands. He knelt, tracing his fingers over some of the carvings. As he did so, his mind was flooded with a momentary awareness of the infinite expanse above. He drew back his hand and stood, breath unsteady, his eyes scanning the patterns.
It is a map of the stars. They are constellations.
His voice quivered with awe as the truth took shape in his mind.
It is an observatory.
Valen turned and saw the same marvel reflected in the faces of the others. Something must have sparked in Beric's mind, for he abruptly strode to the edge of the platform, his boots crunching over loose stones. The others joined him, gazing out across the vast valley below. Some 200 feet beneath them, the black surface of the lake, Pol Glaswyn, mirrored the star-laden sky so perfectly that it seemed that another world lay beneath the water. On the northern shore of the lake stretched the sparse forest they had passed through to reach Penmelkeen. Yet there was nothing. No light of a campfire, no smoke drifting upwards, no sign at all of human life. Hedrick was gone. Before the start of this episode, I rolled on my oracle to see whether Hedrick was still waiting for the companions, as he had promised. The answer was a no but. I do not yet know what has happened to the mountain ranger, but that is for another time. For now, the companions have been through an ordeal, and they need to rest. This shelf on the mountainside offers a place of relative safety, so it is here that they will make camp for the night. Such is their exhaustion that I am going to risk not posting watches. I will roll for a wandering encounter, but given their sheltered position, I will set the chance as just 1 in 6. Here is the roll. A 4. Well, that is a relief. As they settle down, Valen will attempt to cast Soothe on Lena, sending her into a healing sleep. The mage will need to roll a 17 or less for his casting roll. An 11. In the morning, Lena will be healed for 3 hit points in addition to natural healing. Likewise, Talion will try to invoke his song charm, Lullaby. The bard will need a 15 or less for his casting roll. A 15 is on the money. Despite the cold affecting his fingers, the bard weaves a soothing lullaby, which sends the companions into a deep, healing sleep. In the morning, Beric and Eadith will recover 3 and 4 hit points respectively in addition to natural healing. In the morning, Lena will pray for the miracle of Cure Serious Wounds. The cleric will need a 16 or less for her prayer to be answered. A 10. Lena is healed for a total of 11 hit points. Now you may recall that when Valen ascended to level 8 back in episode 67, that I did not at the time roll for his new spells. Given the mage now has an opportunity to rest, it is time to find out what new powers he has attained. As a reminder, Valen will learn an additional 2nd level and 4th level spell. Let's roll a d12 for the 2nd level spell. An 11. Let's see. Okay, Valen has learnt my homebrew spell, Entangle. When cast, surrounding vegetation shoots tendrils, which entangle a single target for 2d6 rounds, after which the vegetation recedes. Entangled creatures may not move or take any action, but each subsequent round after the first, the target can attempt to break free by making a successful strength check. Now let's see which 4th level spell our mage has learnt. An 8. Well, the dice once again want to tell their story. Valen has learnt my homebrew spell, Seal, and its counterspell, Unseal. During its invocation, the mage conducts a complex ritual to seal an opening, portal or doorway. The ritual may place specific conditions, for example a phrase or objects that must be met in order to break the seal. The effect cannot be bypassed by the 2nd level spell, Knock, but can be by the use of the counterspell, Unseal. Finally, before we get back to the narrative, Demelza had a number of scrolls in her satchel, which now belong to Eadith. Let's see what she has. I'm going to say there are d4 scrolls. A 2. To make this completely random, I will roll a d6 for the spell level and roll the corresponding spell list. Okay, the first scroll is the 1st level spell, Sleep. That is disappointing, given it's a spell that Eadith already knows. Now for the 2nd scroll. That will be the 3rd level spell, Neutralize Poison. Not particularly exciting, but it could be very useful in the right circumstances. Okay then, it's time to get back to the narrative. Chapter 70. Part 2. Day 63. Dawn. Party status. Beric, 59 out of 61 hit points. Lena, 34 out of 39 hit points. Valen, 22 out of 22 hit points. Talion, 24 out of 27 hit points. Eadith, 14 out of 14 hit points. Spells available. Valen has memorized Charm Animal, Push, Shield, Entangle, Soothe, Revive, Clairvoyance, Ignite, Unseal, and Dragon's Breath. Talion has memorized Poetic Prose, Pitch, Imbue, and Lullaby. Eadith has memorized Flame, Sleep, Camouflage, and Knock. Lena can pray for 3 first-level miracles, 3 second-level miracles, 2 third-level miracles, 1 fourth-level miracle, and 1 fifth-level miracle. Valen awoke before dawn, though the night sky was already tinged with grey. He rose from under his blanket and shivered. Summer it may have been, but the nights were ever cold in the mountains. The small fire the companions had made had gone out, though a few embers still glowed among the ash, breathing their last warmth into the cold air. The mage gathered up what little wood remained, a few brittle branches and splinters of pine, and coaxed the fire back to life. Flames slowly lit upwards, casting a gentle amber halo around their camp. Once it was steady, the mage retrieved his spellbook and settled beside the crackling warmth, beginning his ritual studies. For several days, the seed of new knowledge had begun to germinate in his mind. Before entering Penmelkine, he had witnessed the quiet, almost imperceivable stirrings of life. The way plants seemed to subtly lean towards him, grow in his presence. And whilst in the cavern, where they had met Eadith, he had unlocked the runes that channeled that very force. Now his mind blossomed once more. The secrets that had opened the entrance to Penmelkine, the portal to the lower vault, and the ritual to close the rift, all began to unfurl in harmony, weaving themselves into a burgeoning comprehension. Runes and gestures bloomed in his thoughts, like dandelions catching the first rays of the sun. With cautious excitement, he dipped his quill in the ink and began scratching at the blank page. The runes flowed from mind to hand intuitively, almost hungrily, as though the spell were alive and eager to be known. As he finished the final rune, the incantation settled within his mind with a resonant clarity, latching symbiotically, given shape, given purpose, ready to be summoned when called upon. He looked up, only noticing then that Eadith was also awake. The other mage sat, cross-legged, her face lit by the soft firelight, eyes quietly absorbed in her own studies. Valen chose not to disturb her. Instead, he set his small copper kettle among the now hot embers, casting a few dried nettle leaves into the slowly heating water. Soon, its sharp, earthy scent drifted through the cool morning air. Filling a cup, he quietly sipped the infusion, gazing out across the valley as the sun slowly caressed the mountaintops with its first touch of gold.
I'm sorry.
Eadith's soft voice broke the stillness, like a pebble dropped into a pond. Valen turned to meet her gaze.
For what I said.
Valen's lips curled into a wry smile.
You have nothing to apologize for.
Valen replied sincerely.
Grief is cruel, and words spoken in it are rarely meant.
Eadith acknowledged this truth with a small nod. Valen poured another cup of nettle infusion.
Here.
He offered it to Eadith.
I find this helps soothe the body and the soul.
The others soon arose, refreshed from their magically induced sleep, and after Lena had prayed once more for healing, and they had all broken their fast, the companions were able to turn their minds to the matter at hand. The morning air was crisp, carrying the scent of stone and pine, as the valley below awoke to the beginning of day.
We have destroyed a Hellstone, and we know the rebels will cross the Dragonspire Mountains in 30 days. So what now?
Beric asked, seeking counsel, his broad arms folded, his expression grave.
I do not think we should pursue the Eye of Slurthra.
Valen offered with immediate conviction.
In all likelihood, Reynard already has it, and if not, without another rift, we could not destroy it.
Then what do you suggest, my love? Lena asked, her voice calm yet inquisitive.
Reynard seeks to unite the Hellstones, just as Vortigern did 1,000 years ago.
The mage reminded them, history weighing heavy upon his words.
We know he has 3, perhaps now 4. And while we have destroyed the Eye of Krevik, the others will bestow upon him a terrible power.
Then it's all been in vain, Beric interrupted, throwing his hands, voice laced with frustration.
No, Beric. Formidable Reynard will no doubt be, but without all 5, he cannot now match the power of Vortigern.
Then what? The big man pressed, a little impatiently.
When Amos appeared to me in Carrick Ugal, I asked him how Derwin defeated Vortigern at the Battle of Carlhan.
The mage revealed.
He told me that the answer lay at Inismaitan.
What is this Inismaitan? Lena asked.
I know not.
But I do, Talion offered, causing the others to turn to the bard. It is the Isle of the King, the location of Derwin's tomb. Bards have a special ability, which means they have a twin 6 chance of having knowledge of lore pertaining to significant people, places, and objects. I made a roll of Mike for Talion to see whether he knew anything about Inismaitan, and the result was a success. I decided that roll meant that Talion knew the location of Inismaitan and its purpose, but does he know anything else? I am going to make a second lore roll to find out. Another 2 and another success. Well, I guess that does make sense. When the companions first met the bard at Lord Cornwyn's stronghold, he did perform a song about Derwin's defeat of Vortigern. Okay, so I'm going to roll a d6. On a 1 to 2, Talion will only know vague rumours about Inismaitan. On a 3 to 4, he will know something about how Derwin defeated Vortigern. And on a 5 to 6, he will have specific knowledge which will help the party know what they're looking for. Here is the roll. A 3. More immediately, there is no safe route by which the party can descend from the shelf in the mountainside into the valley below. Now that Valen has mastered the spell Unseal, the companions could travel back through the lower and upper vault to the entrance, though this would take time and could present further danger. I think I have a better idea, but to make it work, Valen will need to make a successful casting roll. Okay then. Chapter 70, Part 3, Day 63, Morning. Party status. The party status is unchanged. Valen looked out from the rocky shelf on the mountainside. Sunlight bathed the valley that yawned before him, deepening the rich turquoise colour of the lake's water until it gleamed like a jewel set into the earth. The mountain air was crisp and fresh, still clinging to the night's chill and carrying with it the faint scent of pine and stone. Talion had revealed that Inismaitan was an island, sat in the middle of a lake, some 100 miles to the east, in the northern foothills of the Dragonspine Mountains. With little hope of finding the Eye of Selethra before Reynard of Harburg, the companions had agreed that, all things considered, it made sense to discover what secrets Inismaitan might hold. How they might get there without Hedric's help was another matter. But more pressing was how they were going to get off the mountainside. Valen's eyes narrowed. staring down beyond the lip of the shelf, an idea taking shape in his mind.
Let's go!
Beric's voice called out behind him, echoing faintly against the cliff face. The mage turned. The others were gathered by the threshold of the stairs, waiting for him, their faces grim at the prospect of journeying back through the vaults of Penmalkine, the long stairs stretching down into the darkness.
Wait,
Valen answered, quiet but firm.
I have an idea.
Beric took a step towards him, his arms open.
There's no way to climb off this mountain. We need to go.
There was a touch of frustration in the big man's tone, as his brow furrowed.
Trust me, Beric.
The warrior lowered his hands, his expression softening. He nodded once, accepting that when the mage spoke, it was worth listening to. Valen turned back to the valley. Then raising both arms, he recited an incantation.
Defok Draig Vau, Anvon Ashan, de Anadal Saf.
As the final word left his lips, it was accompanied by a pale mist that wisped from the mage's mouth. A heartbeat later, the mist thickened, rushing forward in a rolling stream, as if some great beast exhaled through him. Valen leaned forward, directing the supernatural fog as it spilled over the edge of the shelf and into the valley below like a ghostly waterfall. Then it ceased. Beric and the others came forward, peering over the edge of the platform. The fog was expanding outwards at an incredible rate, blooming like a cloud. It poured into the valley basin below, devouring cliffs, trees, and lake, until the land was lost beneath a churning, pale sea of white. Within a few minutes, the entire valley was filled, with the impenetrable fog rising until it settled just a few feet below the shelf. It was a breathtaking sight. The world below erased, replaced by a vast, silent ocean of cloud. The companions stood as though on the threshold of the heavens. Valen turned to glance at the others, his expression unreadable, though his eyes were bright with quiet certainty.
Believe,
he said earnestly,
and it shall be.
Without another word, he stepped off the platform.
No!
Lena cried out, instinctively throwing her hand out towards her lover, her voice cracking with fear. But Valen had not fallen to his death. He stood, perfectly supported upon the cloud, wispy tendrils coiling about his boots. He looked back at the others, a grin spreading across his face.
Come.
The companions could hardly believe what they had witnessed, but one by one, driven by trust and wonder, they too stepped off the platform, until only Beric remained. The big man hesitated, staring down at the swirling, unreal surface below.
Hell's alive,
he muttered. Then taking a deep breath, he too stepped off the edge. Thank you for listening to Legend of the Bones. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you like what you've heard, then please consider rating and reviewing the show in your podcatcher of choice. Not only do I love seeing the feedback, but it really does help the show to reach new listeners. As always, where would I be without my amazing cast of voice talent? Just one person to thank this time. Returning to the show, playing the role of Eadith, is Chloe Elliott. Chloe is an actor, singer, composer, and content creator, as well as being a cast member of A Deck of Many Aces, an actual play D&D podcast. My sincere thanks to Chloe, whose links I'll put in the show notes. You can also help by liking or reposting new episode announcements, or by recommending the show online or to a friend. You really can't beat the power of word of mouth. Alternatively, if you would like to show your appreciation by buying me a metaphorical cup of tea, then I have a Ko-fi page at ko-fi.com/Legend of the Bones. Any donations will go towards the show's running costs. Finally, I'd love to know what you think of the show, and I do respond to every message I receive. So with that in mind, you can contact me on X at LegendBones, Blue Sky at LegendBones, Mastodon at LegendBones, at ttrpg-hangout.social, Instagram at LegendOfTheBones, email at legendofthebones@gmail.com, or go to legendofthebones.blogspot.com for show notes, house rules, character profiles, art, maps and more. Join me next time to find out what awaits our adventurers as the bones decide their fate. None shall escape the destiny of Bone.
Welcome to Alone in the Realm, a solo TTRPG podcast. I'm DV, your humble GM and adventurer. Alone in the Realm is a podcast where we let the dice drive the story, and we are along for the ride. No character is beyond death, and we let the dice lay where they fall. You can find Alone on the Realm on Spotify or the podcatcher of your choice. You can also find us on YouTube, and, if you prefer the written word, on Substack.